Evan had severe separation anxiety. He would convulse and choke without Liam. 2 hours apart was his absolute limit. Luckily, Liam doted on him. He brought Evan to the corporate office. He even let Evan skip school. Then one day, the neighbor's son married. Evan finally realized his brother could marry too. He panicked at the thought. He did not want a sister-in-law, and in turn questioned why Liam still held Evan. Evan was nestled in Liam's arms. He lazily lifted an eyelid. A dismissive sound escaped his nose. The intern was a new Omega. He had gotten the job through connections. He always tried to impress Liam. He feigned an approachable, down-to-earth demeanor. Now he was interrupting their break. It was 3 in the afternoon. Liam said Evan needed to catch up on sleep. The entire top floor was silent. Only the sounds of keyboards filled the air. Liam glanced down at the intern. His fingers tightened on Evan's waist. He was like a beast guarding its territory. His voice was low and frosted. He asked if there was a problem. The intern choked on the cold words. His face turned a deep crimson. He stammered, unable to speak. Evan hid his face in Liam's chest. His muffled laughter made Liam's chest vibrate slightly. Liam's faint scent of bitter orange returned. It was like fresh lime and cool cedarwood. Evan found the scent intoxicating. He wondered when Liam applied the cologne. Liam told the intern to leave if he had no business. His voice was colder now. The finality in his tone was a. The intern scurried away in defeat. Evan's laughter grew louder. Everyone in the city knew his importance to Liam. Liam had found him and raised him. He was more devoted than any father. Cradling him for a nap was nothing. If Evan wanted the stars, Liam would build a rocket. Evan could live his entire life under his brother's protection. He rubbed against Liam's chest like a satisfied cat. Liam chuckled softly. His thumb caressed the back of Evan's neck. There was no gland there, but the skin was thin, almost translucent. It was his favorite place to linger. The pen scratched against paper. Evan suddenly looked up. His nose almost brushed Liam's sharp jawline. He asked what cologne Liam was wearing. He wanted to buy a bottle for himself. Liam's hand paused its writing. He looked down at Evan. His eyes were deep and unreadable behind silver-framed glasses. He casually asked what scent Evan detected. Evan tried to recall the fragrance. He realized the scent had already faded. He admitted he could not quite place it. It was like lime and orange. He just knew it was incredibly pleasant. He had never smelled anything like it. He leaned in to sniff Liam's neck again. He only smelled the familiar scent of laundry detergent. Liam's throat moved as he swallowed. His gaze darkened even more. He suggested it might be a new detergent. Evan wrinkled his nose in disbelief. He insisted it was not from laundry soap. He accused Liam of using something special. He tugged at Liam's collar playfully. Liam's voice remained gentle. He told his Evie not to cause trouble. He proposed a solution. He would take Evan for a checkup next week. They could have his nose examined. Evan thought it was strange, but he never argued with Liam. He agreed obediently. He snuggled back into Liam's embrace. A checkup was just a checkup. Liam had always handled his medical reports. It was likely just an excuse to spoil him, an excuse for a fun outing. His brother always pampered him. When they got home, 2 people stood at their door. One was tall, the other small. They held 2 boxes tied with ribbons. The bright pink was garish and tacky. Evan sat on Liam's shoulders. He immediately recognized them. They were the Miller siblings. They were not surprised by his posture. They just paused briefly before smiling. They walked over to greet them. Jake Miller, the older brother, was ahead. He was 2 years older than Evan. A faint dimple appeared when he smiled. He seemed cheerful and outgoing. Evan did not like him very much. His constant smiling felt artificial. He was always trying to get close to Liam. He once gave Liam a flashy tie. Evan had secretly flushed it down the toilet. Jake announced that he was getting married. He and his sister were there to deliver wedding favors. Liam accepted the box with a simple congratulations. His tone was flat, revealing no emotion, but Jake was ecstatic. His eyes narrowed into happy slits. He asked when Liam would consider settling down. He said a great alpha like him had many options. His sentence was cut short. His sister, Chloe, pulled on his sleeve. The 5-year-old's face was tear-streaked. She started to wail loudly. She cried that big brothers should not marry. Otherwise, little brothers would be left alone. She sobbed about how pitiful it was. Marriage. The word stunned Evan. He blinked, slow to process its meaning. What did marriage really mean? Their neighbor, Mr. Henderson, got married. He ended up with a bossy wife. She controlled everything he did. She forbade him from talking to other women. She found all his hidden savings. TV shows portrayed the same story. An alpha marries and brings an omega home. They would kiss and cuddle every day. The alpha would buy the omega countless gifts. If his brother got married, would he be controlled? Would he also kiss an omega every day? Would he spend all his money on gifts? Then he would have no money for Evan's snacks. Evan instinctively tightened his grip on Liam's hair. A terrifying realization dawned on him. His brother was going to get married. Liam sighed with gentle exasperation. Evan had no time to respond. Would his brother really get married? Inside, he opened the box of favors. Round chocolate candies tumbled out. He popped one into his mouth. A cloying sweetness spread across his tongue. He asked if married people had to live alone together. His words were muffled by the chocolate. His taste buds were numb with sugar. His mind felt sluggish. Liam was at the entryway changing his shoes. He paused for 3 seconds. He turned around. His gaze behind the glasses was calm and soft. He asked why Evan was asking such a question. His voice was slow and patient. He was coaxing a child. Evan sniffled and ate another chocolate. He claimed he was just asking, but his mind was a tangled mess. A knot of yarn he could not unravel. He did not want his brother to marry. He did not want it at all. If he married, he would not be Evan's alone. He would be shared, taken away. The thought alone was suffocating. His chest felt tight. Breathing became difficult. But he could not say these words aloud. It would make him seem petty. It would make him seem selfish and ungrateful. And Liam would be displeased. He would think Evan took his kindness for granted. Evan dared not make Liam unhappy. He knew he was just an orphan. Everything he had was a gift from Liam. He could not survive without him. After his shower, Evan took Liam's large pillow to bed. It smelled of Liam's body wash. Crisp cedar mixed with a hint of bitter orange. It was just like Liam himself. Cool yet gentle. He buried his face in the pillow. He inhaled the scent deeply, but his mind was still racing with anxious thoughts. He had his first nightmare in 18 years. In the dream, Liam wore a sharp tuxedo. A white flower was pinned to his chest. He was devastatingly handsome. He stood at the end of a flower-strewn aisle. He was smiling at Evan. Evan ran towards him happily. He wanted to leap into his arms. He wanted to hug his waist as always. But as he got closer, he saw someone else. An Omega in a white gown stood beside Liam. The Omega held his arm, smiling sweetly. Liam looked down at the Omega. His eyes were filled with a melting tenderness. A tenderness Evan had never seen before. Liam did not even glance at him. It was as if Evan did not exist. Evan panicked and grabbed Liam's sleeve. He wanted Liam to see him. He wanted Liam to hold him. But Liam just frowned. He shook off Evan's hand in disgust, as if he had been touched by something filthy. He called Evan by his full name. He asked why he was still clinging to him. He called him disgusting. The voice was cold, distant, and unfamiliar. It was a knife straight through Evan's heart. Evan cried out that it was him. It was his Evie. He tried desperately to explain, but Liam still did not look. He took his Omega and walked into the church. The great doors of the church closed slowly. They sealed Evan out of his world forever. "No!" Evan screamed. "Don't go! Don't leave me!" He woke with a start, bolting upright. His chest heaved like a broken bellows. His face was wet. He couldn't tell if it was sweat or tears. The room was pitch black. Only a sliver of moonlight shone through the window. It was terrifyingly quiet. Suddenly, the bedside lamp clicked on. A warm hand touched the back of his neck. It seemed to be checking for something. The touch made him shiver. His monitoring bracelet was beeping wildly. It warned of a dangerously high heart rate. He sniffled and looked up. He found himself cradled on Liam's lap. The position made him taller than Liam. Liam looked up at him with near-reverent devotion, except for the hand still gripping his waist. Evan instinctively tried to scramble off, but Liam held him firmly by the hips. Liam's voice was low and slow. It had a hypnotic rhythm. He told Evan to breathe. He instructed him to follow his lead. Evan matched his breathing to Liam's. His nose brushed against an old scar below Liam's Adam's apple. It was from a kidnapping when he was a child. Liam had taken a knife for him. The scar tissue moved as Liam spoke, tickled Evan's lips. But Evan found himself staring at Liam's throat. It was so captivatingly masculine. He wanted to kiss it. On a strange impulse, he leaned forward. He took his brother's Adam's apple between his lips. After that, Liam went to the bathroom. He stayed in the shower for 2 hours. He must have been utterly disgusted. Because of last night, Evan began a one-sided Cold War. He demanded 3 days of silence from Liam. No touching. No entering his room. Liam complied completely. He moved to the guest room. He even had the housekeeper disinfect their bedroom. The smell of bleach was sharp and overwhelming. It made Evan's head spin. He felt even more miserable. He locked himself in his room. He drew the heavy blackout curtains. The room was as dark as a sealed tomb. He skipped lunch. He ate the leftover chocolates from last night. Usually, Liam would be knocking by now. He would ask what flavor of ice cream Evan wanted. But today, the hallway was silent. Not even the sound of breathing could be heard. Liam was truly angry this time. He must think Evan was disgusting. Pervert. He was probably planning which mental institution to send him to. The more he thought, the more terrified he became. Tears started to well up again. He grabbed a pillow and smothered his face. He muffled his sobs in the cotton. He had to stop crying. Crying would only make Liam hate him more. He forced the tears back. His head felt heavy and dull. He got out of bed. He walked to his desk. He opened a drawer and took out his old tablet. This tablet was not linked to Liam's devices. It was outside his surveillance network. He could create an anonymous account. That way, Liam would not know what he searched online. He curled up in the gaming chair. His toes unconsciously rubbed the soft blanket. On the registration page, his fingers hovered over the username field. He finally typed "wants carrots." The opposite of reality was safer. He chose a crying rabbit emoji for his avatar. It looked harmless enough. In the forum categories, the relationship section had a pink heart icon. He opened a new post. His fingertips danced over the virtual keyboard. Help, How to Stop My Brother from Getting Married. The cursor blinked in the title bar. It was like the green dot on a heart monitor. He chewed on his nail, thinking. He deleted sister-in-law and replaced it with someone else. Still felt too vague. He finally just typed it all out. My brother is getting married. How do I stop him? I am a male beta.
Urgent.
The moment he hit send, a cold sweat broke out. The room was a constant 78 degrees, but he felt flames licking up his spine. He refreshed the page 3 times. The first reply finally appeared. User incest_is_wincest suggested drugging him. Evan's hand trembled. The tablet almost fell. What a terrible thing to say. As he was about to report it, a second reply popped up. User Lawless called the first user a criminal. They advised Evan to wear his brother's shirts to sleep. He should also fake an Omega's heat around him. They claimed alphas were possessive monsters. Once an alpha marked someone, they never let go. A third user found this hilarious. They said this was not a romance novel. They suggested Evan should just become an Omega himself. They included a link to buy an Omega induction agent, becoming a soft, heat-prone Omega. But Liam always said he loved Evan just as he was. He did not want to change. Suddenly, a new message notification appeared. It was a private message. User White Demon had sent him a message. Poor thing. Your brother is an alpha, right? Let me teach you a trick. The seduction principle. Turn yourself into your own sister-in-law. It's a proven method. Evan stared at the words. His throat felt tight. His palms were so sweaty he could barely hold the tablet. He suddenly smelled bitter orange. He whipped his head around. The empty room only smelled of disinfectant. It was just a hallucination. A notification sound pinged. It was a message from Liam. Evie, I'm going to be busy for a few days. Please take care of yourself. Normally, Evan would have rushed downstairs. He would have told his brother not to worry. But now his legs felt like lead. The chat showed Liam was typing. The message bubble appeared and disappeared 3 times. Evan knew what this meant. His brother's rut was starting. Usually, he would stay out of the way. But his eyes fell back to the private message. It was as if he had made a decision. In the dark mansion, Evan carried a large box. He snuck into Liam's room. A wave of overwhelming alpha pheromones hit him. It was a blast of heat that made his knees weak. The bottom of the box hit the doorframe. The objects inside clinked and rattled. Liam stood by the window, his back to the door. Moonlight soaked through his white shirt. The outline of his shoulder blades was clearly visible. He turned, creating a rush of air. The scent of bitter orange mixed with sweet blood. His voice was raspy, as if sanded down. Every word was laced with a hot breath. He asked who let Evan in. Evan instinctively stepped back. His heel hit the doorframe. The box slipped from his hands. It landed softly on the carpet. Metal chains and leather straps spilled out. They glinted coldly in the moonlight. Liam's gaze swept over the items. His Adam's apple bobbed heavily. Evan had never seen such a look in his eyes. He looked like a predator about to devour him. Evan's face burned. He knelt to pick up the toys. He tried to explain himself to his brother. Suddenly, his neck was grabbed. He was slammed against the wall. His spine hit the light switch. The overhead light flooded the room. He could finally see the bloodshot eyes. He saw the veins bulging in Liam's neck. Liam braced one hand by Evan's head. The other gripped his waist. The heat burned through his thin clothes. Liam's hot lips brushed against his earlobe. He asked if Evan could smell it. The touch sent a shiver down his spine. He could smell his brother's scent. Evan opened his mouth to speak. His throat felt clogged with cotton. He could definitely smell it. The pheromones were 100 times stronger than usual. They were mixed with a sweet, metallic odor, like overripe fruit bursting with juice. His legs gave out uncontrollably. If Liam were not holding him, he would have collapsed. He suddenly realized something. He might be presenting as an omega. Liam buried his face in Evan's neck. His canines pressed against the thin skin. He told Evan he could still run. His breath on Evan's collarbone raised goosebumps. Evan grabbed the hem of Liam's shirt. The fabric crumpled in his fist. He would not run. His voice trembled but was firm. A sharp pain shot through the back of his neck. He heard the metallic click of a belt buckle falling. Liam's hand slid down his spine. Everywhere it touched felt like it was on fire. In the chaos, his foot kicked the overturned box. The metal chains clattered. It reminded him of confetti at a wedding. The shiny pieces floating through the air. They looked like the shimmering lights on the ceiling. His monitoring bracelet blared a piercing alarm. His heart rate was about to break its threshold. Liam suddenly stopped. He rested his forehead on Evan's shoulder, panting. He promised to take him to the hospital tomorrow. Evan mumbled a hazy agreement. He then realized what that meant. Hospital, a checkup, a beta who could smell alpha pheromones. It was like a tree made of iron suddenly blooming. Liam must have guessed he was presenting. He asked why Liam was not continuing. His own voice sounded sticky and strange. Liam suddenly grabbed his wrist. The monitoring bracelet dug into his flesh. Liam's shirt was askew. His collarbones were slick with sweat. His chest heaved as he pushed Evan away. He told Evan to get dressed. His voice was hoarse and terrifying. He pulled a long coat from the closet. He threw it at Evan. Evan did not catch it. He knew this was his only chance. He deliberately loosened his collar. He exposed his flushed collarbone. He asked Liam to smell him, to see if he smelled like an omega. Liam pinned him against the wall again. His breath was hot behind Evan's ear. He asked if Evan knew what he was doing. Evan knew. He stood on his toes, nuzzling Liam's nose. He said Liam had taught him to be responsible. Before Liam could speak, he rubbed against his veined hand. He said presenting meant he could smell Liam. It meant Liam would not marry someone else. He could do everything those other omegas could do. He would be better behaved than them. His words were cut off by a sudden loss of balance. Liam lifted him onto the windowsill. The moonlight felt like cold water on his back. Liam unfastened the monitoring bracelet with one hand. He tossed it aside. The metal clasp hit the wall with a sharp sound. Liam forced Evan's chin up. He asked how many scents Evan could smell now. The strong bitter orange was mixed with rust. There was also a faint, sweet, metallic scent. Evan licked his dry lips. It smelled like an orange grove before a storm. It was dangerous and full of temptation. Liam's throat moved. He suddenly tore open his shirt. The old scar across his chest glowed pink in the moonlight. It was from the kidnapping when he was 8. They had held a knife to his chest. He took Evan's hand and pressed it to the scar. He asked if Evan knew why he survived. Evan shook his head, his palms sweating. It was because the kidnapper was an omega. Liam had released an 80% concentration of his pheromones. The scar under his fingertips felt hot. Evan suddenly remembered a news report. An omega criminal who had a mental breakdown. The criminal had committed suicide. Liam's next words confirmed his suspicion. The concentration Evan was smelling now could destroy an omega's nervous system, and he was willingly inhaling it. The monitoring bracelet in the corner flashed a frantic red. Evan realized his own breathing was scaldingly hot. His presenting body felt like it was being boiled. Every pore was screaming. Liam's voice was a soft whisper. He asked if Evan still wanted to continue. He warned that it could be fatal. Evan took the hand on his waist. He pressed it to his own carotid artery. The pulsing vein beat against Liam's palm, like prey offering its throat to the predator. He knew Liam would not let him die. No one was more suitable than him to be his Omega. Others might die, but he would not, because his brother loved him. Liam's thumb brushed the hollow beneath his collarbone. He asked if Evan knew what being marked meant. Evan shook his head. Liam's expression became serious. After being marked, an Omega needed pheromone injections every 3 months. Otherwise, the pain would be unbearable. His fingers traced down Evan's spine. Regular checkups of the reproductive cavity were required. Using a speculum would be painful. Evan grabbed his hand to stop him. He said Liam could not scare him. The sheer curtains billowed in the night wind. Moonlight flowed between them. Liam suddenly let out a soft laugh. It sounded like self-mockery, or perhaps acceptance. He told Evan about the note. The note left with him as a baby. Evan froze. Liam had never mentioned this before. The note said he was a hermaphroditic freak. An unlucky omen. Liam's expression softened. But what they rejected, he had cherished for 18 years. Liam finally released him. He took an inhibitor syringe from a drawer. The pale blue liquid looked like melted gems. He asked one last time. He held the needle to his own neck. Did Evan want him as a brother? Or as an alpha? Evan lunged forward and grabbed the syringe. He threw it out the window. I want you to love me, he said. He bit Liam's Adam's apple. Love me in every way you know how. Liam's voice was a whisper. He told him to be good. As Liam laid him back on the pillows, Evan tasted blood. Liam's, mixed with pheromones into the sweetest wine. The hospital checkup was 7 days later. On the way back, Evan leaned lazily in his seat. He listened to Liam's phone vibrate 7 times. On the 8th ring, Liam finally answered. He heard Jake Miller on the other end. He was talking about the wedding rehearsal tomorrow. He invited them to come. The question was a hopeful probe. Liam said no. He hung up the phone. His left hand unconsciously twisted his wedding ring. Evan stared at the reflective band. He suddenly grabbed Liam's wrist. The leather seat creaked. The driver glanced at them in the rearview mirror. Evan rested his forehead on Liam's shoulder. He asked if Liam wore the ring because he was married before. The car entered a tunnel. Darkness swallowed Liam's suddenly tense expression. Evan had never asked about his brother's romantic history. He never thought it was important. But things were different now. He was his brother's Omega. But surprisingly, Liam said it was not important. Why was it not important? This was a wedding ring. Evan felt a pang of disappointment. That person must have been very important to his brother. Otherwise, he would not have worn the ring for so many years. The silver band glinted in the passing shadows. It was like a thorn in his heart. In the rearview mirror, he saw his own pale face. His eyes were unnaturally red. He knew he was about to cry again. A dull ache spread through his chest. He had been with Liam for 7 days. But nothing had really changed. He still slept in the master bedroom. Liam still checked his sleep data at 3 a.m. Besides the occasional bite mark under his collar, not even the housekeeper noticed a difference. On the 10th afternoon, he woke from a nap. He was on the sofa in the study. Liam was frowning at his computer screen. His left hand was twisting that ring again. The cold platinum light hurt Evan's eyes. He walked over barefoot. He stood on Liam's bear-shaped slippers. He said he wanted strawberry cake. Liam closed the laptop. His gaze fell on Evan's bare ankles. He told him to put on his shoes. Evan refused. He deliberately rubbed his cold toes against Liam's leg. Liam frowned. Normally, he would have pulled Evan onto his lap by now. But today, he just got up to get the slippers. Evan stared at his back. Liam would never leave him to do something else. Unless he rushed over and grabbed Liam's wrist. The monitor bracelet gave a short beep. He demanded to know who Liam was meeting. Liam silently placed the slippers at his feet. Evan kicked them away. They hit the bookshelf with a thud. He accused Liam of meeting the Omega who gave him the ring. He was going on a date with them. His voice was shrill, even to his own ears. Liam's voice was very soft. Evie. The name stopped Evan cold. Liam explained that the ring was made of clay. Evan had made it for him when he was 6. A memory suddenly surfaced. A stormy night. He was crying in Liam's arms. He had asked if getting married meant Liam would abandon him. He had offered to make Liam a ring to ensure he would never get married. Liam removed his glasses. The fine lines around his eyes were visible. He had later commissioned a platinum version. He had it made based on Evan's original design. He took off the ring. Inside, the crooked initials LMY were engraved. Evan's initials. The cicadas outside suddenly seemed very loud. Liam bent down and asked if he would wear his shoes now. Evan placed his foot in Liam's hand. He asked why Liam said it was not important. Did he think Evan was being unreasonable? Did he not want to marry him? Not good enough. The 3 simple words did not make Evan overthink. Liam always gave him the best. He leaped forward and bit Liam's ear. He asked his brother to feed him cake. Liam's hand on his hip was hot. He said they needed to handle business first. Evan finally saw the papers on the coffee table. An Omega Rights Protection Agreement. Liam opened the document. His pen hovered over the Guardian signature line. He explained that signing it would make their relationship legally recognized. He paused, his voice trembling slightly. Will you sign, Evie? Evan took his hand. He asked with a smile if Liam would buy him new strawberry cake. Every day. He asked if Liam would tie his shoes. Until he was 80. He swallowed. He asked if Liam would love him even more. Liam suddenly took the pen back. The tip grazed Evan's hand. The slight sting made him flinch. Liam held his hand and pressed it to the agreement. The cool paper was against his palm. Liam's fingers intertwined with his. He said the way he loved Evan would change after signing. He whispered that it was not too late to back out. Never. Evan grabbed the pen. He signed his name first. Liam Evan Young. He suddenly remembered the forum's advice. Turn yourself into your own sister-in-law. It seemed he had succeeded. He needed to plan a wedding with Liam. Having no experience, he thought of Jake Miller. Liam was out of town for a meeting. Evan snuck into his study to find the invitation. The Miller wedding was at the Summit Hotel. It was a place Liam often took him for afternoon tea. He wore a hoodie hiding his face. He swiped a card and slipped into the ballroom. The crystal chandeliers were dazzling. He hid behind the dessert table eating macarons. Jake Miller wore a white tuxedo. He mingled with the crowd. His boutonniere was tackier than the favor box. Suddenly, someone tapped his shoulder. He got frosting on his mask. It was Jake's father, Mr. Miller. He held a glass of champagne. His eyes were narrowed behind his glasses. He noted that Liam was not there. Evan shook his head, stuffing the last bit of eclair in his mouth. Mr. Miller tapped his glass with a finger. The ice cubes clinked. He heard they were getting married. Evan choked. The powdered sugar went down the wrong way. Mr. Miller called the idea laughable. The tissue he offered smelled of cologne. It was nothing like Liam's scent. He asked if Evan knew who Liam wanted to marry at 16. It was not him. Evan's hand froze. He suddenly thought of the ring. He asked who it was. Elise. The name was sharp. Mr. Miller said she was Liam's sponsor from age 6 to 16. He showed Evan a photograph. The woman in the photo wore a beige sweater. She looked remarkably like Evan. Mr. Miller asked if he was surprised. He laughed. He claimed the woman had an affair with Liam. She even got pregnant. If he hadn't caught them, he would have been deceived forever. He slammed his glass on the marble counter. He called Evan a bastard child turned replacement wife. Evan's face turned deathly pale. He asked what Mr. Miller meant. He meant that they were father and son. Liam was in love with his mother, and Evan was a stand-in for his own father's affair. Mr. Miller's laughter was wild and vengeful. Evan stumbled backward. He knocked over a champagne tower. Amid the sound of shattering glass, Mr. Miller's voice was like a snake. He told Evan to check the scar on his left chest. It was from when his mother jumped from a building holding him. Evan's fingers unconsciously touched the scar. Liam always trembled when he kissed it. It was not sympathy. It was guilt. Mr. Miller said he threw Evan in a dumpster. He never expected that bastard to find him. He said Liam was just raising Elisa's replacement. Evan grabbed a dinner knife. He held it to Mr. Miller's throat. The tip quivered against his artery. He accused him of lying. Mr. Miller just smiled. He said he was not afraid. He was not lying. The revolving door reflected a familiar figure. Liam stood there, silhouetted against the night. His suit was damp with dew. He held a box of strawberry cake for Evan. His voice was soft. Evie. Evan flinched as if burned. The knife clattered to the floor. His monitor bracelet shrieked. Liam walked through the broken glass. The ribbon on the cake box brushed against Evan's knee. He asked why Evan did not wait for the suit fitting. Mr. Miller started laughing maniacally. He said Liam arrived just in time. He could tell his son about his nights with Elise. Liam grabbed an ice bucket. He threw its contents at him. Ice cubes slid down Mr. Miller's greasy hair. He wiped his face, about to speak again. Liam grabbed his throat. He slammed him onto the dessert table. He asked why Miller never said these things when he forced the abortion. Liam's fingers dug into his flesh. He asked if he needed a reminder of the blood. Evan stared at the bulging veins on Liam's hand. He remembered Liam teaching him to write his name. A 6-year-old Evan couldn't hold the pen. Liam had guided his hand. Evan means precious gift. You are my treasure. It was not a name. It was a memorial. Liam released Mr. Miller. His eyes were still red when he turned. He removed his tie and wrapped it around Evan's trembling hands. We're going home. The car's citrus air freshener was Evan's choice. Now it mixed with the foul smell of blood. Liam's knuckles were white on the steering wheel. 2 buttons on his shirt had popped open. They revealed the scar on his chest. Evan fingered the tie around his wrist. He asked if he really was. You are Liam Evan Young? Liam interrupted. He ran a red light. The child I raised. The car stopped on the causeway bridge. The sound of the rising tide was like a sob. In the moonlight, Liam's gaze fell on his hand. It was still clutching the seatbelt. There was still frosting on his fingers. Evan sat quietly. He waited for an explanation. Your mother was a good person. I always respected her. Liam tapped the steering wheel 7 times. It was a familiar thinking pattern. I was looking for a textbook in the attic. I found a drunk Mr. Miller attacking your mother. He was tearing at her clothes. He kept hitting her. Blood and broken teeth flew from her mouth. He was trying to kill her. So Liam grabbed an iron. He hit him over the head with it. He did not die or even pass out. When he sobered up, he accused them of having an affair. Evan looked up. He met the whirlwind of bloodshot color in Liam's eyes. He never imagined this was the truth. He asked what happened next. Liam said Miller tried to force an abortion. He tried everything to get rid of the child. But Liam was always there to stop him. Liam's gaze darkened. But just once I wasn't there. That one time, Mr. Miller drove his mother to jump. His mother died. But Evan was gone. Liam had searched frantically. He looked in every corner. He finally found him, covered in blood, in a dumpster. Evan looked down, picking at his nails. He hid his face in the shadows. He asked if Liam raised him just to fulfill her last wish. First, yes, Liam admitted. He reached over and pulled down Evan's hood. He wiped a smudge of sugar from his nose. But then I found a crying baby with a bottle was much cuter than a cold will. He knew about Evan's first lost tooth. His first wet dream. The first time he secretly wore Liam's shirt. But he always told himself this was the child Elise died for. He should not and could not have those thoughts. Evan reached out and touched his Adam's apple. And now, Liam caught his hand and pressed it to his lips. He licked off the frosting. Now you are Liam Evan Young, my husband. The air freshener suddenly burst with sweet citrus. It mixed with the lingering bitter orange on Liam. Evan climbed over the console. Liam did not stop him. Evan's nose brushed against his collarbone. I want you. Now. Liam's hand pressed down on his spine. The suit pants rustled. Here. The bridge suddenly vibrated. A freighter's horn pierced the glass. As Liam bit the tie off Evan's wrist, the rearview mirror reflected the neon lights of the wedding venue. Evan's muffled protests were silenced. The metal seatbelt buckle dug into his back. The car system recorded the seat's incline. A fisherman's flashlight swept past the soundproof glass. The bridge's support columns seemed to sway with their breaths. When Liam tied the drawstrings of Evan's hoodie, the bridge was calm again. Ready to go home now? Evan was curled in the passenger seat. He was eating the strawberry cake Liam bought. A bit of cream was on his lip. Liam leaned over and licked it off. The courthouse opens at 9 tomorrow. The radio suddenly announced a severe storm. Evan mumbled, "Brother." Liam hummed in response. I saw those medical reports in your study last year. The tires skidded on the wet road. Veins popped out on the back of Liam's hand. Evan giggled, a plastic fork in his mouth. The assessment was interesting. Rain hammered against the windshield. It sounded like a frantic heartbeat. And so, Liam took the cake box from him. So I knew, even if you marked me, I might never fully present as an Omega. Evan took his right hand. His gaze was fixed on Liam's lips. But you still bit me. You left a permanent mark on my neck. You gambled on that 13% chance. Why? Liam held his hand in return. His palm was burning hot. Because when you stood on your toes to kiss me that day, your heart rate was faster than mine. I knew then. You liked me too. Evan laughed against his earlobe. Brother, I actually changed the report. He whispered that he lowered the success rate by 85%. Liam suddenly froze. He asked what the real number was. Evan bit his earlobe. 97. A feeling of weightlessness overcame him. Liam's voice was a murmur against his ear. The wedding is the first week of next month. The tires screeched against the pavement. Sparks flew. Over the roar of the engine, Evan yelled, "And the dowry? My life is yours." The wedding was set for early autumn. Evan insisted on a traditional ceremony. He wanted to experience jumping over a basin of fire. Of course, that was just an excuse. The main reason was the nightmare. It had felt too real. Liam hired a master tailor from overseas. He would hand embroider their wedding clothes. golden threads created a lifelike dragon and phoenix. 3 gongs sounded through the paper screen. A groomsman called out that it was time. Liam suddenly grabbed Evan's wrist. The wide sleeves of their robes hid their joined hands. "You can still run," he said. The red veil fell over Evan's face. He bit the back of Liam's hand. "If I run, you're carrying me." The charcoal in the fire basin crackled. Liam actually lifted him into his arms. He stepped over the brass basin. The wedding planner cried out in surprise. Evan whispered through the veil, biting his ear, "I smell strawberry cake." Liam's hand was on his back. "It's chilling in the kitchen." He said they would have it after the wine. As the ceremonial candles flickered, Evan peeked from under his veil. He looked at the rim of the ceremonial cup. Liam suddenly cupped the back of his head. The wine flowed between their joined tongues. It was mixed with the mince Liam had eaten that morning. The cool sensation made his toes curl. The faded clay ring rested in a brocade box. The crooked initials LMY were engraved inside. When the veil was fully lifted, Liam was replacing the clay ring with the platinum one. Evan rolled on top of him, the golden dates on the red silk bedding pressed into his knees. "Brother." "Yes. I know you bought that ring yourself." Liam's fingers ran through his loose hair. "How did you know?" "A 6-year-old's clay project wouldn't have initials." Evan bent down and bit his chin. "You wanted to cage me all along, didn't you?" Liam did not deny it. Instead, he held Evan's waist tighter. He pressed him closer. The scent of bitter orange and sweet wine melted on his tongue. The first step to caging a songbird, he unfastened the pearl button on Evan's silk collar, is to first become the cage yourself. "Then you better lock me up tight. Even if I'm happy to stay." The button rolled onto the golden carpet. It was like a hidden, racing heartbeat. Outside, magpies fluttered their wings. They circled 3 times before landing on a branch. They preened each other's feathers. They brought back a piece of red string.